psychic being. That means what? Whatever you are doing is completely controlled by Chaitya Purusha. Then whatever you do is an offering to him. Now whatever we are doing now is an offering to our false ego. It is our false ego which is taking the responsibilities of what we are doing. But when the first ascent is over, it is the Chaitya Purusha, the psychic being, who will take the responsibilities. That means what? Whatever you are doing, thinking or desiring is an offering, is a sacrifice to the Chaitya Purusha. Now what is going to happen? Next. All love is adoration. Now we have finished about the works and the knowledge aspect of it. Now we are going to the devotional aspect, the bhakti yoga. But in works, then what does he say? Though beautiful adjectives, through the poverty of the right and the smallness of its issues, we pray, but what is actually our prayer? It is a poverty of our rights. We develop a Pancha Puja Vidhanam or a Shodashopachara Puja Vidhanam, and you can't grow, and you are praying to the infinite, and you are limited to only Pancha Puja. Poverty, am I able to make you clear what I mean by the poverty? For prayer, there are infinite ways, especially when you read the mother's prayers and meditations, you will understand the real prayer. But the outer being's poverty of the right and the smallness of the issues, even still, all worship, whether it is small or great, is an aspiration and therefore a preparation for the psychic being to come down. So don't stop your pujas, change your attitude towards them. And if you stop it, everything is gone. Next. Nor will the man who knows be hasty at any time to shatter the image unless he can replace it in the heart of the worshipper by the reality of it. This is what Lord Krishna says, don't disturb the people. You follow what is being done by the people until you give them a reality. You say all this puja is worship, all this power is worship, is nonsensical. But you can't give them an ideal. Then you are saying this will disturb his, and thereby you are going down. Next. You understood what I am telling them? This is for us to understand. You go out and say that no, you don't do this puja, you don't do this. There is no meaning in this and there is no meaning in this. Okay. Are you able to give him a better ideal? And if you talk to him about the psychic being, he will look at you as a madman. So, better be a normal man than to be labeled as a madman by outsiders. But be a madman here. Next. It is possible to turn life in an act of adoration to the Supreme by the Spirit in one's works. For, says the Gita, he who gives to me with a heart of adoration, a leaf, a flower, a fruit, a cup of water, I take and enjoy that offering of his devotion. Do you understand what is meant here? He is not meaning being a leaf or a flower. He means if your psychic being accepts it, that means you are offering the leaf because the psychic being has asked it. You are offering a cup of water because the psychic being is asking it. Then it is the real devotion and I accept it. He won't accept it because our outer being gives it. You understand the difference? So even a simple work can be an offering if the psychic being is in the front. It should dominate our actions. Next. In any cult or symbol, the significant rite or expressive figure is not only a moving and enriching aesthetic element, but a physical means by which the human being begins to make outwardly definite the emotional aspiration of his heart, to confirm it and dynamize it. Very clear? So whenever you go to a temple or whenever you go to a mosque or whenever you go to a church, depending upon your belief, it should not be mechanical. It should be what? Enriching the aesthetic element. But few can dispense with the support of outward symbols. And here a warning is given by Sri Aurobindo that if you think that you have outgrown the need of a temple or a church or a mosque, be careful. Very few can dispense with the support of outward symbols. That is what in Bhakti Yoga, Lord Krishna also says that Nirguna Puja is very difficult. Kleshodhikas tarastesham. It is very difficult for people to concentrate on something which is unmanifest. Therefore, worship is a very necessary condition for aspiration. The indispensable surrender of all our will and works and activities to the Supreme is indeed only perfect and perfectly effective when it is a surrender of love. And now, there is an intellectual surrender and there is a surrender through heart. When he is talking about surrender of love, it is the heart to be surrendered. What now we are able to do is a partial surrender of the intellect that yes, there is something there. But the love towards it is not there. And how to develop love? Easiest way I told you, mother here, the presence of mother. Next. Life in its very principle must be transformed. There are three principles in us. The principle of thinking, the principle of desiring, and the principle of action through the body. These three principles must change. The basis of your actions, the basis of your desires, the basis for your thoughts must change. What is our thoughts today? Egocentric. Whenever you do something, you always think of what happens to you. But you should always think what happens to the psychic being. At first it will be very hazy, very, very hazy, doesn't matter. You just always go on to thinking, what will the psychic being want from this situation, and I will act like that. Next. The conversion made and completely made. The conversion from the outer being into the inner being, the psychic being coming into the forefront. For first, life as it is a movement of desire, and it has built in us as its center a desire soul, which refers to itself all the motions of the life and puts in them its own troubled hue and pain of the ignorant, half-lit, baffled and devoured. So this is what our external desire mind says. For a divine being, desire must be abolished and replaced by purer and firmer motive power. The tormented soul of desire dissolved, and instead there must emerge the calm, strength, happiness. Next. Of a true vital being now concealed within us. Indirectly he is again talking about Nishkama Karma Yoga. Life as it is driven or led partly by the impulse of the life force, partly by the mind, which is mostly a servant and abettor of the ignorant life impulse. Clear? What we are doing now, we are not ignorant of the cosmic forces. We are only knowledgeable for day to day, for today's effects of what we are doing. But in part also, it's uneasy and not too luminous or competent guide and mentor for a divine life. The mind and the life impulse must cease to be anything but instruments. So this is the crux of what Sri Aurobindo always drives you. The body must be an instrument. The vital body must be an instrument. The mental body must be an instrument without its own choosings. It should not choose anything. It should be only an instrument of what? The psychic being. Next.